Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, on behalf of Viva, it gives me great pleasure to welcome His Excellency Dr. Youssef Ghali, Minister of Finance, to this luncheon arranged by Viva together with the Financial Times in honor of Dr. Youssef. Also, I would like to welcome Mr. Ben Hughes, Deputy CEO of the Financial Times, who is with us today. As you may already know, the Financial Times has chosen Egypt to be a country where its daily prominent newspaper will be distributed the same day of its publication in the UK. That's great for Egypt, for a business community at least. Because of this important event, Dr. Youssef has kindly accepted to be interviewed today by the Middle East editor of the Financial Times, MS Rula Khalaf. I'm sure the interview will prove to be most interesting and most informative. Following the interview, there will be some time for open discussion and questions from the floor. I would like now to leave the floor to Mr. Ben Hughes, Deputy CEO of the Financial Times. Mr. Hughes.
Your Excellency, Dr. Youssef Ghali, Ambassador Dominic Asquith, Mr. Hazem Hassan, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is my very great pleasure this afternoon to welcome you all to this Financial Times luncheon organized with our friends at the British Egyptian Business Association to celebrate the latest development of the FT's presence in this important market that is Egypt. I once heard from a banker friend of mine that certain countries were considered hardship postings for senior bankers. He explained to me that these were all countries where the FT was only available 1 or 2 days late. So, no longer will you have to wait 24 hours to get hold of the latest copy of the Financial Times. And all Egyptian business people will have the same opportunities to access FT news, comment and analysis as our readers in all the other major markets around the world, from New York to London to Hong Kong and Tokyo. We're fortunate to count the world's business and political leaders amongst our faithful readers, and it is only right that we are now able to serve this booming market of Egypt with a daily service. Some of you may be aware that a little over 2 years ago, the FT decided to invest in a new edition of our newspaper, specifically edited for a Middle East audience. This new edition is based in a brand new editorial center in Abu Dhabi and is headed by Rula Khalaf, our Middle East editor. The FT's editorial network throughout the Middle East is second to none in both size and quality. And under Rula's leadership, we are proud to have more offices and more staff than any other international publication in this region. I must also thank Egypt Air for the wonderful job they do bringing the copies from Abu Dhabi each day, and also Al Haram, our local distributors, who ensure that the copies get into the hands of our very loyal readers on a daily basis. We are also very lucky to be represented here by Dr. Mona Zaki, who has done so much for the Financial Times over the last 20 years in Egypt, and who works tirelessly on many aspects of our commercial presence here. but in particular secures so much advertising support for our annual Egypt report, which is coming out this year, I hasten to add, on December the 16th. So, it is my very great pleasure to introduce you to the next stage of our lunch, which is to hear a little more about Egypt and its success from someone who needs absolutely no introduction from me. His Excellency Dr. Youssef Ghali, Egypt's Finance Minister. So without any further ado, Rula, Heba and Dr. Ghali, the floor, as they say, is yours. Thank you very much.
The way we're going to organize this is Heba and I, this is Heba Saleh, our Egypt correspondent, by the way, and I'm Rula Khalaf, the Middle East editor. The way we'll organize this is Heba and I will ask a series of questions and then open it up to the floor to give you the opportunity to ask your own questions of the Minister. Minister, once again, thank you so much for being with us. It's a pleasure to be interviewing you again. The Egyptian economy has done better than expected during the global financial crisis, whether in terms of Suez Canal revenues, remittances, or tourism receipts. I see that forecasts for growth this year are around 5.7% and even stronger next year. Perhaps you could give us your own forecast, but specifically tell us what you think the risks are now for the economy, especially with the sluggish growth in Europe.
Look, our economy fared significantly better than most developing country economies after the 2008 crisis. One, because our banking system was not terribly affected. And second, because after all, we have a big economy. So a lot of the momentum is generated internally. Now, of course, we did suffer. In relative terms, our growth rate went down from 7.2 to around 4.7, which for us is a big deal. For most industrial countries, any one of them would have dreamed to have a 4.7 growth rate. The economy recovered reasonably quickly. Last year, we ended up with a growth rate of about 5.2, with the last quarter accusing a growth